you looking at? March 10th. Matthew 13, chapter 13, verse 1 through 23. 13, verse 1 through 23. Matthew 13, verse 1 through 23. The story of the farmer scattering seed. Later that same day, Jesus left the house and went down to the shore, where an immense crowd was soon gathered. He got into a boat, where he sat and taught as the people listened on the shore. He told many stories, such as this one. A farmer went out to plant some seed. As he scattered it across the field, some of the seed fell on the footpath, and the birds came and ate them. Other seeds fell on shallow soil with underlying rock. The plants sprang up quickly, but they soon wilted beneath the hot sun and died because the roots had no nourishment in the shallow soil. Other seeds fell among the thorns and shot up and choked out the tender blades. But some of the seeds fell on fertile soil and produced a crop that was 30, 60, even 100 times as much as had been planted. Anyone who is willing to hear should listen and understand. His disciples came up and asked him, "Why do you always tell these stories when you talk to people?" Then he explained to them, "You have been permitted to understand the secrets of the kingdom of heaven, but others have not. To those who are open to my teaching, more understanding will be given, and they will have an abundance of knowledge. But those who are not listening, even what they have will be taken away from them." That is why I tell these stories, because people see what I do, but they don't really see. They hear what I say, but don't really hear. And they don't understand. This fulfills the prophecy of Isaiah, which says, "You will hear my words, but you will not understand. You will see what I do, but you will not perceive its meaning. For the hearts of these people are hardened, and their ears cannot hear, and they have closed their eyes, so their eyes cannot see. And their eyes cannot see, and their ears cannot hear, and their hearts cannot understand, and they cannot turn to me and let me heal them. But blessed are your eyes because they see, and your ears because they hear. I assure you, many prophets and godly people have longed to see and hear what you have seen and heard, but they could not. Now here's the explanation of the story I told about the farmer sowing grain. The seeds that fell on the hard path represents those who hear the good news about the kingdom and don't understand it. Then the evil one comes and snatches the seeds away from their hearts. The rocky soil represents those who hear the message and receive it with joy. But like young plants in such soil, their roots do not go very deep. At first they get along fine, but they will wilt as soon as they have a problem or are persecuted because they believe the word. The thorny ground represents those who hear and accept the good news, but all too quickly the message is crowded out by the cares of this life and the lure of wealth, so no crop is produced. The good soil represents the hearts of those who truly accept God's message and produce huge harvests, 30, 60, and even 100 times as much as he had planted. That's Matthew 13, 1 through 24. to 23. Leviticus 17 and 18. Leviticus 17 and 18. Prohibition against eating blood. Then the Lord said to Moses, give Aaron and his sons all of Israel these commands from the Lord. If any Israelite sacrifices a bull, a lamb, a goat, anywhere inside or outside the camp and does not bring it to the entrance of the tabernacle to present it as an offering to the Lord, that person will be guilty of a capital offense. Such a person has shed blood and must be cut off from the community. This rule will stop the Israelites from sacrificing animals in open fields. It will cause them to bring their sacrifice to the priest at the entrance of the tabernacle so he can present them to the Lord as a peace offering. That way the priest will be able to sprinkle the blood of the burnt fat on the Lord's altar at the entrance of the tabernacle, and it will be very pleasing to the Lord. The people must no longer be unfaithful to the Lord by offering sacrifices to evil spirits out in the fields. This is a permanent law for them, to be kept generation after generation. Give them this command as well, which applies to both Israelites and to foreigners living among you. If you offer a whole burnt offering or a sacrifice and do not bring it to the entrance of the tabernacle to the Lord, you will be cut off from the community. And I will turn against anyone, whether an Israelite or a foreigner living among you, who eats or drinks blood in any form. I will cut off such a person from the community. For the life of any creature is in its blood. I have given you the blood so you can make atonement for your sins. It is the blood representing life that brings you atonement. That is why I said to the Israelites, you and the foreigners who live among you must never eat or drink blood. And this command applies to both Israelites and foreigners living among you. If you go hunting and kill an animal or a bird that is approved for eating, you must drain out the blood and cover it with earth. The life of every creature is in its blood. That is why I have told the people of Israel never to eat or drink it, for the life of any bird or animal is in its blood. So whoever eats or drinks blood must be cut off. And this command also applies both to Israelites and foreigners living among you. Do not eat from the carcass of an animal that died a natural death or was killed by a wild animal. You must wash your clothes and bathe yourself in water. Then you will remain ceremonially unclean until evening. After that, you will be considered clean. But if you do not wash your clothes and bathe, you will be held responsible. Forbidden sexual practices. Leviticus 18. Then the Lord said to Moses, say this to your people, the Israelites. I, the Lord, am your God. So don't act like the people in Egypt, where you used to live, or like the people of Canaan, where I am taking you. You must not imitate their way of life. You must obey all my regulations and be careful to keep my laws. For I, the Lord, am your God. If you obey my laws and regulations, you will find life through them. I am the Lord. You must never have sexual intercourse with a close relative, for I am the Lord. Do not violate your father by having sexual intercourse with your mother. She is your mother. You must never have sexual intercourse with her. Do not have sexual intercourse with any of your father's wives, for this will violate your father. Do not have sexual intercourse with your sister or half-sister, whether she is your father's daughter or your mother's daughter, whether she has been brought up in the same family or somewhere else. Do not have sexual intercourse with your granddaughter, whether your son's daughter or your daughter's daughter. That will violate you. Do not have sexual intercourse with the daughter of any of your father's wives. She is your half-sister. Do not have intercourse with your aunt, your father's sister, because she is your father's close relative. Do not have sexual intercourse with your aunt, your mother's sister, because she is your mother's close relative. And do not violate your uncle, your father's brother, by having sexual intercourse with his wife. She is also your aunt. Do not have sexual intercourse with your daughter-in-law. She is your wife's son. She is your son's wife. Do not have intercourse with your brother's wife. This would violate your brother. Do not have sexual intercourse with both a woman and her daughter, or marry both a woman and her granddaughter, whether her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter. They are close relatives, and to do this would be a horrible wickedness. Do not marry a woman and her sister, because they will be rivals. But if your wife dies, then it is all right to marry her sister. Do not violate a woman by having sexual intercourse with her during her period of menstrual impurity. Do not defile yourself by having sexual intercourse with your neighbor's wife. Do not give any of your children as a sacrifice to Moloch, for you must not profane the name of your God. I am the Lord. Do not practice homosexuality. It is a detestable sin. A man must never defile himself by having sexual intercourse with an animal, and a woman must never present herself to a male animal in order to have intercourse with it. It is a terrible perversion. Do not defile yourself in any of these ways, because this is how the people I am expelled from the promised land have defiled themselves. As a result, the entire land has become defiled. That is why I am punishing the people who live there, and the land will soon vomit them out. You must strictly obey all of my laws and regulations, and you must not do any of these detestable things. This applies both to you who are Israelites by birth and to foreigners living among you. All these detestable activities are practiced by the people of the land where I am taking you, and the land has become defiled. Do not give the land a reason to vomit you out, defiling it, as it will vomit out the people who live there now. Whoever does any of these detestable things will be cut off from the community of Israel. So be careful to obey my laws, and do not practice any of these detestable activities. Do not defile yourself by doing any of them, for I, the Lord, am your God. Leviticus 17 and 18. Proverbs 28. The wicked run away when no one is chasing them, but the godly are as bold as lions. When there is morale rot within a nation, its government topples easily. But with wise and knowledgeable leaders, there is stability. A poor person who oppresses the poor is like pounding rain that destroys crops. To reject the law is to praise the wicked. To obey the law is to fight them. Evil people do not understand justice, but those who follow the Lord understand completely. It is better to be poor and honest than to be rich and crooked. Young people who obey the law are wise. Those who seek out worthless companions bring shame to their parents. A person who makes money by charging interest will lose it. It will end up in the hands of someone who is kind to the poor. The prayer of a person who ignores the laws are despised. Those who lead the upright into sin will fall into their own traps, but the honest will inherit good things. Rich people picture themselves as wise, but their real poverty is evident to the poor. When the godly succeed, everyone is glad. When the wicked take charge, people go into hiding. People who cover over their sins will not prosper, but if they confess and forsake them, they will receive mercy. Blessed are those who have a tender conscience, but the stubborn are headed for serious trouble. A wicked ruler is dangerous to the poor as a lion or a bear attacking them. Only a stupid prince will oppress his people, but a king will have a long reign if he hates dishonesty and bribes. A murderer's tormented conscience will drive him into the grave. Don't protect him. The honest will be rescued from harm, but those who are crooked will be destroyed. Hard workers have plenty of food. Playing around brings poverty. The trustworthy will get a rich reward, but the person who wants to get rich quick will only get into trouble. Showing partiality is never good, yet some will do wrong for something as small as a piece of bread. A greedy person tries to get rich quick, but it only leads to poverty. In the end, people appreciate frankness more than flattery. Robbing your parents and then saying what is wrong with that is as serious as committing murder. Greed causes fighting. Trusting the Lord leads to prosperity. Trusting oneself is foolish, but those who walk into wisdom are safe. Whoever gives to the poor will lack nothing, but a curse will come upon those who close their eyes to poverty. When the wicked take charge, people hide. When the wicked meet disaster, the godly multiply. Proverbs 28. So our three readings was Matthew 13, 1 through 23, Leviticus 17 and 18, and Proverbs 28. To maintain, we read the whole Bible in a year. Amen. Stay blessed.